House Republicans have pointed their fingers at the other side of the aisle for a number of problems on Capitol Hill, but one freshman member asked his conference to take a look in the mirror when it comes to revenues.
Historically, we've been around 18%, plus or minus, revenue as a percent of gross domestic product. And right now, we're less than 15%. That, too, is a problem. Any Republican who will not admit to this or to confront it and discuss it head on is not dealing with reality. These are the numbers. It's not how you feel. It's where the numbers lead us. We need to be a leadership team here, a body that respects, seeks out, and is guided by the facts.
Well, Virginia Congressman Scott Rigell joins me now. You represent first-term member of Congress from the 2nd District in Virginia. That's the, among other places, Virginia Beach, I believe.
Yeah, the beautiful southeast part of Virginia, the entrance to the Chesapeake Bay.
There you go.
Yeah, and highest concentration.
The Chamber of Commerce is going to be very happy with that.
It really is a beautiful place, Chuck, and highest concentration of men and women in uniform in the country.
We were talking before this interview started. You were a businessman, car dealer for 30 years. You've been here 11 months. Pretty frustrated by how the system works?
Well, I think evidenced by the fiscal trajectory that our country's on, it's a dysfunctional place. It is truly broken. And I am confident, though, that with the right leadership and headed in the right direction, we'll get this sorted out.
It seemed there when you went on the floor that you were frustrated. It's like, okay, there's a spending problem, and you pointed that out, talked about the fact that I think it's up to 24% of GDP, that's a historic high. But then you also pointed out that revenue's coming in at a historic low, and that you can't just deal with one without dealing with the other. But that seemed to be an almost impossibility inside that super committee.
Well, I appreciate you pointing out that what preceded those comments were my comments on our spending.
Right.
And from the president to, I think, most people in Congress, there's agreement that the principal driver of the deficit and our debt, which is threatening our country, is driven by medical expenses, Medicare, Medicaid, and medical inflation generally. That's the principal driver of our debt. What I was pointing out in that part of my 42-minute remarks was that, I've been looking at financial statements for 30 years, and our country has a financial statement. It's really these numbers that are right here. They're very simple in some respects. I know there's lots of zeros, but if you take the zeros off, the numbers are really quite simple. And as you pointed out, historically, we've been around 18% of our gross domestic product coming in as revenue, and now we're under 15% the last couple of years.
The last time we were that low, I mean, that was pre-World War II.
Right. Now, also keep in mind, and this is where I found it very difficult in Washington to get proper context to numbers, because every number is multiplied by 10. It's kind of an odd way of doing math. But if you look at our own tax code that we essentially have in place now, our tax code did generate over 18% in 2006 and 2007. Which is a pretty good number, but still keep in mind that our historic spending has been at 19%.
So what you have said, and I've noticed some other freshman members of Congress are starting to speak out that, you came in with this whole change message, and suddenly you're finding it's very hard to have much influence. Well, those of us that cover this place, we could tell you that, because the seniority system, I happen to think seniority is the worst thing in Congress. It is the most corrosive element, I think, in Congress, but that's my personal opinion.
Well, I am a proponent of term limits personally. I think 12 years is the right number. I'm really proud of our leadership, from Speaker Boehner to Leader Cantor. They really have listened to the freshmen. I believe that. No one has ever...
But it sounds like you are willing to have more of a compromised conversation when it comes to what would have happened.
I'm glad we're here this morning so that I can clarify and provide some direction on this. Overwhelmingly, the key to our prosperity is to get our economy going again. The driver of revenue should be the growth of the American economy. And I think really the grand irony of what's coming out of this beautiful building behind us here in the administration is that the policies that they're moving forward, although I think they're done with good intent, I truly believe we're regulating ourselves out of our prosperity. The difference, when I mention that 3-point delta, and really it's a 4-point delta compared to historical spending, the principal way to get this fixed is to get the economy going again. Let's look at energy for an example. Secretary Salazar made it clear, and I think with the consent surely of the president, that all of the energy resources off the coast of Virginia, we can't leverage those, Chuck. It's not right.
Well, do you understand, though, that given what happened in the Gulf at that time, I mean, we were a month earlier, I believe the president opened up much of the Atlantic. He had signed this, and then the Gulf happened, and then everything got shut down.
Chuck, we're smart people. Yeah. We can figure this out. This is a true story. I just yesterday, it hit me, it struck me when I was coming onto your show. I thought, you know, just yesterday, I was talking to my son, Justice, in Virginia Beach, saying, Justice, you ought to go and consider North Dakota. 3.5% unemployment. 1.5% unemployment in some of the smaller towns. It's all because of that Bakken.
Right, what's going on with the energy underneath
That's
the
right.
fracking.
The energy can really fuel job creation in America. It's been projected up to 1.2 million jobs could be created in that sector alone. Surely it would help the 2nd Congressional District of Virginia.
All right, I want to just quickly go back to what you were showing your frustration about. What do you think it's going to take to get other Republicans to agree with you and saying, look, we got to deal with this revenue problem as well?
Well, as I shared on the House floor, I know of no other way to make decisions than the numbers. And we do need to be a body that seeks out, respects, and really moves forward based on numbers. Now, that 3 to 4% delta there, where we're essentially losing money as a country, you could think of it in a business term there, we're losing money as a country. I think most and potentially all of it can be met by the growth of our economy. Now, if we determine that, look, the best that this tax code's going to do is, for example, 17.5%, then I think we're going to have a very candid discussion within Congress itself and across this great land as to, can we fund defense at its proper level? Can we meet our deep obligation to our seniors with Medicare? And can we build new roads which are deteriorating? Can we do that at 17.5%? If the answer is yes, then great. If it's not, we got to have another discussion.
Scott Rigell, Republican, first term from Virginia Beach. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right.